Welcome to Health is the Key, a podcast where we explore the health and wellness issues that matter to 1199 SEIU healthcare workers. I'm your host, Elizabeth Moore, and today I'll be discussing the Benefit Fund's partnership with WeightWatchers with our special guest, Angelica McQuade, a WeightWatchers coach dedicated to 1199 SEIU members. We'll talk about all the special features available to 1199ers for just $8 a month or $0 if you're living with diabetes or pre-diabetes, and why WeightWatchers isn't, quote, just another diet. So let's get started. Welcome to Health is the Key, Angelica. We're so excited to hear more about how WeightWatchers can help our members reach their health goals. But first, we'd love to hear your journey, how you got started with WeightWatchers. Can you share a little bit about that?
My personal journey actually began in 1988 when, as a young woman, I walked into a WeightWatchers in the Bronx, New York. And back then, the scale was the be-all, end-all of success. So I walked in with this desire to lose weight. And I'll share with you, I wanted to get into a pair of Gloria Vanderbilt jeans. Do you remember those?
That's great. Oh, I do.
And Jordache jeans. You know, nothing comes between me and my Jordache. So I lost 50 pounds that first time.
Wow.
And then I did what most members do. I figured I was fixed and I walked away and I never looked back and I regained most of that weight back pretty quickly. But then fast forward, 2005 was the last time I joined with the intention of never leaving. And the reason I joined was because I had given birth to my daughter. I was a new mom. And I remember holding her in my arms and thinking to myself, I just want you to grow up to feel comfortable in your own skin, because I know that that's the start of great things, just taking risks in your life and being open to living fully. But that wasn't who I was back then. And so when I joined WeightWatchers again, it was with this new goal of being the best version of myself, to role model that for my daughter. And interestingly enough, I had a son. He was 6. But this thing about, wanting my young girl to grow up to feel confident and empowered was important. Right. And that changed everything. I feel like that was the real start of my wellness journey, not my weight loss journey, if you know what I mean.
I do. That's such a great motivator, and it's one that I think a lot of our members can relate to. And so you've stayed with WeightWatchers as part of the program since then. And is it just part of your daily routine, or do you still have to think about it, or just explain how it's integrated into your life?
I think that's a great question. No one has ever asked me that before. And I would say that some things are a part of my DNA now. They're just automatic, and I don't think about it. And for me, that's the biggest victory or win, is that my identity is a lot of the things that we're taught in the beginning that can help us to become healthier. So I don't think about them. But with that said, there have been times when I've had some serious challenges. Loss and changes in our bodies and just all kind of injuries, right, where I've had to kind of recalibrate and start from scratch and just change the way I'm doing certain things to honor where my body is. And so some things, have required conscious effort along the way.
But the key question too is but what is it about WeightWatchers? What is it about this program that helps you integrate it into your life and isn't something that is more of a chore?
I think that the biggest thing about our program is that it's focused on real living. Like, how do you want to live your life long term? We're fond of saying you want to lose it the way you're going to live it. We really do encourage members to not think about dieting per se in the old, definition of that word, to really think about what is it that you want for yourself. When you envision the things that you'll do when you are at a healthy weight, what do you see? That's the goal, is to live life to the fullest. And when you start with that, it kind of changes the way you approach the whole getting to this healthy weight, right? We're not eating carbs, or we're not having cabbage soup every day, until we get
the
to
cabbage soup diet.
Right? Do you remember the cabbage soup diet?
I do.
Not a good one.
No, not sustainable. No. And that's the thing that about WeightWatchers that I admit I am a new member. I thought it was going to be really tough, but there are so many things you can eat that you don't feel deprived. You can eat the things you've enjoyed in the past, but you just have to budget them into your daily points count. Can you explain a little bit about just the logistics of how it works, how the new program works?
Sure. Well, first, that we always begin with all foods are on the menu, and nobody believes it, Elizabeth. It's so interesting because when we do orientation, we start with that. And I actually tell folks, write that in capital letters on the top of your sheet, and then know that what's going to happen as you start to use the point system, as you start to get familiar with points values for food, as you start to make choices that help you manage your budget better, all that's going to happen is you're going to gently be nudged towards healthier choices more often than not. Mm-hmm. And it's not that you will not be able to enjoy all of your higher point favorites or even foods that maybe nutritionally are not the most sound, but they are delicious. Like who doesn't want them? There's nothing that's off the menu. And in fact, you know, there's this notion sometimes from members that higher point foods are bad foods and that lower point foods are good foods. Well, food is just food. There's no judgment around it. It's not good or bad. It's just, what is it that will satisfy me in this moment?
I think many members come to Weight Watchers after many other failed diets. So why do other diets fail so much? They do seem to fail a lot.
I think because they're temporary. Full disclosure, I know that I'm going to be doing Weight Watchers for life because I tried all the other things. I kept going to all of the other things because they promised a short-term fix and I would see results on the scale very quickly. But it also required a pause in living life like a normal person. And I put normal in quotes because that's all relative. But like it really did require a pause in doing things like eating out and socializing with ease and vacationing. And that's where we're different. Other diets are exactly that. They're restrictive. The word diet actually just means the way you eat. It's not really meant to mean anything other than that. It's come to mean deprivation. And I feel like that's what a lot of folks experience is short term, they're willing to give up a lot in order to see quick results. And then they realize, wow, I can't do this for the rest of my life. I don't want to. And then they go the other extreme, which is, well, then I might as well do nothing. And that's where we're different. It's not all or nothing. It's let's take it little bits. Let's focus on some small doable changes and let's see where that takes you.
And that's what it's so frustrating that many of the diets that fail, after you fall off the diet, you actually gain back more weight. So how does Weight Watchers deal with that? How do you address people who are a little fearful of starting, another plan that I'm not going to do well on?
That's such a real fear, and I get it. I feel like that's where our program really shines, and that's my humble opinion. I know I'm a little biased, but it shines because we spend just as much time focused on the mindset pillar. We don't just talk about food and exercise, which we know there's a connection between our weight and the things that we eat and how often we move, but there's a bigger connection with longevity with how you think about what you're doing. And during workshops, you'll hear me say often, when folks say I was off the program, I challenge that a little. I'm like, were you though? What were some things that you were doing that have become just a part of who you are through this experience? And then they'll say like, oh yes, I made healthier food choices while I was maybe taking a break from tracking, or I injured myself so I can't walk, but today I did, do some chair exercises. And that's all it's about. You're never off. You're just managing the best you can based on whatever life is throwing at you in the moment, and that's different.
Right. Well, that's what I was curious about what life throws at you. How can you help motivate a member to get back on track?
You know what's interesting? It starts on day one during orientation. Again, we keep it real. So we don't talk about if there's a setback or if you hit a plateau, or it's when there's going to be a setback, you're going to go on vacation, the holidays will come. And we spend the whole first month when folks are super excited the honeymoon phase, when they're in that place, we spend the whole first month, let's just help you build some foundational skills so that when you hit that first little roadblock, you're already doing these things kind of on autopilot, and that helps you to stay in the game. Again, so you're not off plan, you're just kind of managing through some bumps, and it's a little different.
I think the other tricky part is the plateaus. The plateaus, you're doing everything you're supposed to be doing, and that scale just isn't budging. How do you motivate yourself to stay on, and how does WeightWatchers help you stay on?
I had plenty of plateaus during the journey, and I would say that the first thing is, again, we keep it real, but we also normalize that experience. Plateaus are a part of the journey. We start there. And then we talk about them openly. Like when we have workshops or on Connect, which is our online social platform where between workshops folks stay engaged and connected to each other, there's a lot of folks sharing their very real experience with a plateau or with a setback. And you'll see the community, boy, it rallies around that person and starts sharing all the different things that they did to stick with it until their body just got past it. And that's the trick.
The community aspect is very important, especially to 1199ers who are a very tight-knit community as it is. What is the extra edge that a workshop can give one of our members?
There are going to be times in the journey when you just don't have time to physically show up to a workshop. So we do have the ability to attend workshops virtually. We also have that the groups within our platform that are specific for our 1199 members so they can stay together. But the workshop experience is like no other because it opens with folks just being candid about what's happening for them. And in that conversation, there's a lot of sharing about what's worked, what hasn't, and people take away things that speak to them based on where they are. It's so different when you're experiencing something on your own and you're trying to brainstorm what to do and you have no idea whether it's going to work or not, or someone else tells you, hey, I was able to do it. And you're like, if that person can do it, so can I. And that helps people keep going. In fact, research actually shares that when you engage with people in community, it can make all the difference. So in our orientations, we really help people connect very quickly, and 1199 has this unique opportunity. They're connecting with others who are similar in that way, the work experience. Some have similar positions, similar stressors. That's an immediate bond. There's a little joy that comes from knowing that you're sitting shoulder to shoulder, whether it's virtually or in person, with someone who truly gets it and gets a lot of your life, right?
Now, we have 1199er exclusive groups, but 1199ers can also join other workshops, correct?
Oh, yes, absolutely. So 1199ers have access to the national virtual calendar, and there are many coaches there that they can choose from. And of course, there are also other connect groups that are specific to common interests. So let's say you love to read, or you're a very active person, you love to walk, you're going to find other folks within our WeightWatchers community that share that interest and can even walk you through something that maybe you hadn't thought of trying before and you want to get started with. So lots and lots of support. Yeah.
That sounds great. When we hear Weight Watchers, many of us may think it's all about counting points, but it's so much more than that. Can you explain a bit how fitness and exercise work in the program?
Well, we actually have 4 pillars that the program is focused on, 4 elements of wellness, and food is one of those, but then there is activity, there's sleep, and there's mindset. And on the activity front, the support comes in the form of the Connect groups. There's an entire category of activity, and you can find folks that are doing things that interest you or that you want to get started with. We also tailor your budget. So if you are a person who is particularly active and you track that in the app, your budget is going to adjust so that you have enough points to properly fuel your body, and you'll still see that healthy weight loss of 1 to 2 pounds per week.
1199ers have access to this wonderful new benefit for a discounted price. What would the takeaway be for our 1199 member who has tried many diets, failed at them, and just thinks, what's Weight Watchers going to do for me? It's just one more diet. How can you get that person to take the pledge and sign up for Weight Watchers?
I would say that you all have offered this incredible opportunity to take that pledge and jump in at a price point that just can't be denied. I mean, the amount of support that's coming your way, including the coaching, and I have to say something I haven't seen before, which is these in-person and virtual workshops that are strictly for $11.99 members is something incredibly unique. And there's nothing to lose by giving it a try, right? And so much to gain. If nothing else, you are going to meet some incredible members that are a part of your community. You're going to get incredible support. And I am the coach that's working with all of you, and I love what I do. I am incredibly passionate about what I do.
We can tell.
And I live the program every day. So I think that it's absolutely worth taking. This is one of those risks that you're not going to lose anything by just trying, for sure.
That's such a great point.
Yeah.
Well, we know our members who have joined Weight Watchers already appreciate everything that you bring to the program and that they're learning from. And we just hope that more members sign up. And we want to thank you for your time. And we'll see you at the next workshop.
Oh, it's been my pleasure. I can't wait.
For more information on what you heard today, please check our show notes. And remember, subscribe to Health is the Key wherever you get your podcasts. This podcast and its content are presented solely for general informational and entertainment purposes. The information and opinions provided on this podcast are not intended as legal or medical advice and do not constitute or serve as a substitute for professional, medical, or psychological treatment, diagnosis, therapy, or other types of professional intervention.